Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff,
And I'm Anna.
and you're listening to We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast where we do exactly what the title says. On today's episode, we're judging the pilot of a show neither one of us have ever seen. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our pod.
Hey, what's going on?
We originally started recording, and I forgot to switch our audio settings, and we weren't picking up anything.
Great, babe.
But now we can continue the conversation that we're having. That it is November 15th, and we are currently in our peripherals. We have the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight going on right now, and he still looks incredible.
Oh well, I'm certain he can kick someone's ass. I don't know if he can kick this guy's, but we'll see. We'll be watching.
It's just so random that that's the route that the Paul brothers went in becoming these like muscle.
What were they famous for? Were they?
So they started out. They were in kind of like they were a big part of like the second wave of like YouTube stars. Kind of like the originals were kind of like Smosh and Rhett and Link and all of them.
I think you told me about them.
And then the Paul brothers were kind of a part of the like Game Grumps, Markiplier kind of era when Shane and all them first joined Smosh in like 2015. A lot of I think they started off on Vine.
Oh,
or at least. I think Logan Paul's the older one. I think he started out on Vine, and I think Jake Paul just kind of was born into the business, and I think he was on like a Disney show for a little while.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I literally just kind of read it really briefly because I was just like, which one's which? I kind of forget which one's older and which one was kind of the first one. But yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Oh yeah, I have zero interest in boxing, but tonight, since about 7 p.m., everyone has been posting on Facebook that they can't get on, that their router needs buffering, and I mean, just the memes and everyone posting has just made this night hilarious.
Yeah, Netflix. We're finding out that Netflix, their fatal flaw is live TV.
Yeah, well, I was talking about that when I came up to the restaurant to see you, and I was like, I don't know, is Netflix ready for this? You know, they're not HBO, they're not pay-per-view.
Right.
So I guess
Disney Plus, we watch Dancing with the Stars live. I mean,
yeah, but I don't think there are that many people. I don't
right.
I don't know.
Well, no, you're probably right,
because this is very like special. I mean, I think a lot of people do watch Dancing with the Stars, but I don't know.
All right, so we are continuing November with our political-driven, political-based month, political-themed month, and we're nearing the end. We got this and one more episode left, and we're actually both really excited about December and that theme that you came up with. Kind of, I would say, pretty last minute. You came up with it right before.
Yes, because it is the 15th, and we haven't even started watching the episodes for it yet.
Yeah, so with work travel and just stuff going on, I mean, we had like my mom's birthday. We went and saw Beetlejuice at the Sanger. We're busy. We're busy people, and we are cutting it close, but we're also about to spend the next like 5 or 6 weeks just recording probably about 3 months worth of episodes, because December and the second half of January are going to be even crazier than,
for me,
than November was. We are we're getting it done. But so today's episode is a show that I think we're calling it our first time watch, but I think we watched the first episode before.
I really don't remember if we did or not.
Because while we were watching it, I was remembering things. So I either read it before and knew what happened, or I watched it, but I started remembering you and me watching it, but I could have just been making it up in my head.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we did that with Outer Banks, and I like barely remember that. Like, we watched the first episode of that and then forgot about it, and then like 2 years later watched it, and we were like, oh yeah, this one. Anyway,
anywho,
so yeah, we're doing the Politician. So we're calling this first time watch because pretty sure we never watched it, and we have a lot to talk about this episode. So we're gonna go ahead and do the episode and series information. So Anna, take it away.
All right, The Politician pilot. The Politician is a comedy drama that was released on Netflix on September 27th, 2019. A second season was released on June 19th, 2020. A third season is supposedly in development, but, it's been 4 years, so I don't know if we need to hold our breath on that. The series has a total of 2 seasons so far and 15 episodes, so it's a total easy go back and watch.
Super easy, like, weekend watch.
The series was created by Ryan Murphy, Ian Brennan, and Brad Falchuk, and we've talked about them before. They have created shows such as Nip Tuck, Glee, Scream Queens, American Horror Story, and American Crime Story. The pilot was written by all 3 and was directed by Ryan Murphy. The series centers on Peyton Hobart, played by Ben Platt, who I love. We've seen him in several things. Peyton is an aspiring politician who wishes to one day become president of the United States. Season 1 focuses on Peyton's high school at St. Sebastian High School in Santa Barbara, California, as he attempts to run for class president. Other characters include Peyton's running mate, Infinity Jackson, played by Zoe Deutsch.
She's pretty great in this. She's pretty funny.
Peyton's arch nemesis, Astrid Sloan, played by Lucy Boynton. Peyton's opponent and Astrid's boyfriend, River Barkley, played by David Corin Sweat. Peyton's girlfriend, Alice Charles, played by Julia Schlafer. Peyton's campaign officers and advisors, McAfee Westbrook, played by Laura Dreyfus, and James Sullivan, played by Theo Germain. River's running mate, Sky Layton, played by Ryan Jones, and Peyton's adoptive father, Keaton Hobart, played by Bob Balaban. Infinity's grandmother, Dusty Jackson, played by Jessica Lange, and Peyton's adoptive mother, Georgina, played by Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, yeah. It's quite a cast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they just keep coming, and even more actors that would later join the show are Judith Light, Ben Mittler, Dylan McDermott, and January Jones.
Nice.
The series has received mixed reviews from the critics and fans alike, but has developed somewhat of a cult following. You can currently watch all episodes on Netflix. Unlike The Fight.
I was about to say, don't try right now.
Well, it's still going. Yeah. I mean, I think they're in a little timeout. No, like, what do you call it? Like the little reverberation.
Like
buffering.
Yeah.
The buffering it had been going on all night. So, yeah.
All right. So, as we said, we already said the date. It's November 15th. And, we had decided to do this show I think like last month, maybe we decided. So, I wasn't aware of Keke Palmer's memoir at the time. No. I don't know if this just came out or if it's just something that
No, I think it just came out.
Okay, so but I mean we both very recently learned that in Keke Palmer, who was in Scream Queens, which was also made by Ryan Murphy
in our October episode.
Yes, a show that we both love. That in her memoir, she did not have maybe the greatest experience on the set of Scream Queens, and kind of was holding Ryan Murphy very accountable for the things that, I mean, it basically just having a different standards for different actors on the set, and kind of maybe more or less playing favoritism.
Well, one of the things she was talking about was how he would change their schedule. Mm-hmm. And she would have a day off and then he would change it and then still expect her to come in. And, she wasn't, I don't think at the time Scream Queens came out super well known. I mean,
I'm going to say Keke Palmer was pretty popular when she joined the show, and it wasn't exactly helping her career or anything. She was on a very it was a very Scream Queens is very much like a cult following type show.
Well, I'm just saying, I think she had other things going on.
She did.
So this wasn't her only thing. So I'm sure when she had a known day off, maybe she was doing another job or something. I don't know. But in any job, if you already have plans, if you have a designated day off, that's your day off.
Right.
And what I think she got dinged for was standing up for herself.
Yep.
Yeah. And as he has supposedly done a lot, is play favorites.
Yeah.
And then they would take over doing, I think, a lot of his dirty work, I think.
And then she didn't name the co-star, but some very racially insensitive remarks were made to Keke Palmer on the set of Scream Queens by an unknown co-star. You can speculate on who it was. I'm not going to talk about that, but because I have no information.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't say.
Yeah, I think she refers to her as like Brenda. I think it's like like an alias like type
yeah
thing.
But I think she also said that person also, after she felt she had smoothed things over with Ryan Murphy, was like, hey, look, there's not a misunderstanding, there's not a miscommunication, I had a day off, you changed it, and I stuck to my plan. And so she stood up for herself, which women in Hollywood don't do a lot, and particularly as a woman of color, where then this person also then came to her and was like, oh, yeah, Ryan's not happy and, it's not good. You probably need to go talk to him. And she's like, what are you talking about? I've already straightened stuff out. And it was just kind of like, someone trying to stir the pot.
Right, trying to get in her head.
Yeah, get in her head, but also just being a little shit stirrer. Yeah. So we wanted to talk about that because it's not the first time that Ryan Murphy has had a little drama in his shows. And again, we are not on the set, but we want to support our girls like Keke Palmer. And
I also occasionally listen to, not in just like, isn't it called In Just Like That, the Glee podcast, whatever it's called, the one with Kevin McHale and Jenna Ushkowitz.
Oh, okay.
They were on Glee, which is another Ryan Murphy show, and they've also talked about favoritism. It's just, you kind of start hearing the same thing. You're just like, okay, there's a trend here. There are habits being made, and it's just, we're really only talking about this just to let everyone know that like we're aware of
it
just going on.
And it came out this week.
And it's always interesting the timing of when we record these episodes, because we kept having to put this off, and then this kind of came out, and it's like, oh well, we kind of have to address that just because.
Well, I think
we're not going to sit here and we referred to Ryan Murphy as the kings of TV. I wrote that before the thing came out, and so I was just like, man, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have wrote that. I was like giving them a compliment, and it's tough when you don't know everything that happened. You don't know every aspect of it, and you just kind of have to either kind of come up with your own opinion of it and move on with it, I guess. It's just we're just bringing it up just to let everyone know that we're aware of what's happening. All right, so the whole show, because the second season too revolves around campaigns and being a candidate and running for office of some kind. Do you have any memories of campaigns in high school and middle school?
Oh yeah,
running for stuff. You were class treasurer?
Yes, my freshman year of high school. How this happened, I have no idea, because I'm really bad at math, except I do think I'm good with my money. I decided to run for class treasurer. I thought being on student council would be something easy that I could do. And again, my mom and my dad and my mom would always approve of anything if it was school related, so I could run for student council. So I ran for class treasurer. I don't remember who I ran against, but I won.
Did you have a slogan and stuff?
I don't remember. I was really trying to think, but this was back in the day when you actually hand wrote posters.
Oh yeah.
I think I cut out out of construction paper buttons for, campaign buttons, and used sewing pins to pin them on me or on my friends that would put them on. So a very, very low key, campaign. And I'm sure these days some schools have it really crazy, and we haven't seen the full on campaign start. We just know that they're running, and, you'll get into the plot, the pilot summary here in just a minute. But Yeah, it was very inexpensive to run. And the other election in school that I really remember, and I won't say their names, and it was nothing bad. It to me, it's like always life lessons are good. You know, you don't always get everything you want. Well, there was a person in our class who had been like on student council, and that was my only year in student council. Yeah. Like I never did it again. Well, so she had been on student council all like the whole time in our class for something, and she had decided she wanted to run for the overarching, like the whole student council for the school.
Gotcha.
Not like a class level president, secretary, VP, treasurer, whatever. And up until like the day or two before you had to declare your candidacy or submit your form to the whoever was in charge, whatever teacher, like no one was running. Because I think everyone thought, oh, okay, she totally is going to get it. She has been on student council. She was actually a very popular, nice, well-liked person. Well, about 2 days before the deadline, one of our classmates decided to throw his name into the hat.
Oh, my God.
And he was, I'm not going to say like he was a bad guy or that he wasn't worthy, because I'm like, everyone, if they want to run, let them run. And so he decided to join and was like, someone shouldn't just get it to get it. Yeah. Like, competition breeds excellence. So he decided to run a very unconventional campaign. Nice. And I don't mean like promising like extra days off of school or like free candy on Fridays. Oh. He just was very much like, yeah, whatever happens, we'll figure it out. We're going to do some cool stuff. It's going to be a great senior year, blah, blah, blah. Like it was just, he didn't have a platform. He didn't have any specific ideas. Maybe you could say it was concepts of a plan, where, the girl candidate, she was like, had a list of things she wanted to get accomplished and changes she wanted made, different parts of the school she wanted to improve, and like just lists of things.
She planned it.
And she lost.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because like our whole senior class was like, okay, he does not need to be our class president. She deserves it. Like what is happening? But for student council, everybody voted. Like that's all the grades vote, not just your class. Okay. Because they're over everyone.
Oh, okay. So it's the whole school.
This was the whole school. And so the juniors, the sophomores, or the sophomores and the freshmen, because I guess we were juniors because it was going to be for our senior year.
Gotcha.
They didn't know, like they were just dum-dums, and they just voted because they thought he was funny and, cool and lackadaisical. She ended up running for another class position again. And so she was on student council, and I am going to go ahead and say it. Things worked out. He ended up being actually a really great and fun student council president. And she actually went on and served as the national president of her fraternity later in our lives. Like in our like late 30s, she was the national president of her sorority fraternity. Some call them sororities, some call them fraternities. And so I thought that was really amazing, because sometimes these kind of things that happen in kids' lives can set them back and be like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do that again. But obviously that wasn't the case for her. I mean,
well, that's cool though. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think what's also really funny is I don't know if he thought he was going to win. And I think when he won, he was like, oh my God, I actually really have to do something. So it's ironic. Funny. I mean, that was crazy, because I mean, here was the person that really, really wanted it and had ideas, and it was just what she thought was her path and she didn't get it, and you think that can like deject you or make you sad. And she still ran for our class and she got elected. I don't remember what office she was. And then he got the job and actually, you know, took off with it, and he did a lot of good things. And
That's
then
cool.
For her also later in life, it was probably another reason to just keep trying. So yeah. I thought that was good.
That is cool.
What about you? Did Woodlawn or any of your schools have crazy elections?
So I remember the first time I ever experienced like a student council like campaign was when I was in 6th grade. That was when you started doing that. And actually there's a story I just randomly thought of, but I'll get to that in a second. All right. So I remember in 6th grade when people started running for like, you know, president, it was like president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. That was the 4. And I remember there being a lot of like that year, I remember there being a lot of discussions about the vandalism of people's posters. I remember that because people were like drawing on the posters and probably not saying very nice things. But yeah, I remember that. But what I just thought of, and I actually thought of it at one point and forgot about it and then remembered it. Now I'm glad I did. So when I was in 6th grade, also there was class representative, and then there was an alternate class representative for each class in the 6th grade, for each homeroom in the 6th grade. And so it was down. So we thought that, so the whole class votes for who they want to be the class representative. And then whoever got like the second most votes would be like the alternate. Okay. And so when all of this was counted up, and she counted all of it, she was like, my teacher suddenly changed how she was going to do it. She was like, okay, so we have the top 4 votes. And it was me, my friend Jared, and then 2 other girls.
Oh.
And yeah, so just to let everyone know, when I was in 6th grade, I was kind of cool.
You still are cool.
Yeah, I'm just being stupid. I had a lot of friends in that class. Anyway, which we thought was really weird. And then she was like, okay, y'all vote for the 2 people that you want to be, or like vote for one person, and then I'll do the first and second. We'll get it. Okay. And then she was just like, okay, we have, okay, we're going to do a top 3. Like, she did not want me or Jared to win. That's what it really felt like. And I don't, looking back on it now, I don't blame her, because like we were not like model students, I guess. Like we weren't, I don't know, like
it's political. What politicians
I know, but like
are.
she kept like changing, and it's really funny because I completely forgot about that, and then I randomly remembered it when we were talking about like questions for this episode. Yeah, so I ended up being the alternate, and then I was never needed. So, I mean, like, there was, like, maybe, like, 5 student council meetings that a class representative needed to be there.
I mean, elections kind of get crazy these days at schools.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't see them regularly, but I know in the law schools, they've actually had to set budgets.
Oh, wow.
And they have to submit receipts for their spending. I know that they do that at Southern, because it gets, now with social media.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. I was like, got a whole other.
They can make videos. Mm-hmm. They can do like super fancy printing and banners. Because I remember when I lived in the Pacific Northwest, I would always make a trip to the University of Idaho School of Law. Mm-hmm. The week that they would elect like their class reps for the Student Bar Association, because the wives would cook all week.
Nice.
It was joked that it was really a battle of the wives cooking.
That's awesome.
More so than their husbands actually running. And it was like, which wife made the best food that week? I mean, I would eat like because in Moscow, Idaho at the time, in the early 2000s, there weren't that many restaurants. I have not been back in quite a while.
Yeah, there's not much of anything in Idaho from what I'm
There's
told.
like a McDonald's, a Baskin Robbins, and an Applebee's or something like that. I would actually eat at my employees' houses more than I would eat out because they would invite me to have meals. But that week I'd be like, ooh, I'm going to eat for free all week.
Nice.
Like they would bring breakfast, they would have lunch,
That's
they would have
awesome.
afternoon snacks. So, you know, it's just funny to see like different schools and different ages and how they compete and how they get, you know, family or friends involved. So yeah.
Yeah, so my senior year, my senior class president is currently tied to me in a very funny way.
Yes.
So I'm not going to name names. I don't need to, but so when I was a senior in high school, one of my friends ran for president, and he was very active in like clubs. He was like friends with everybody. He was like just that person, and he like had all these ideas for prom, and he would have been the guy, definitely would have been the guy to like rely on to get everyone to come to a reunion or something like that, because that's ultimately what you're voting for. I mean, like, you're kind of voting for someone to be like, hey, every 5 years, like, you got to get us together.
So was that really kind of what it was around here in Baton Rouge? Like that was sort of the goal of the president of at least senior year?
Like, that was the goal?
Well, that was like your mindset, was that this person would eventually be the person who would organize.
No, I didn't really know that until later in life, but I know that factor until later in life. But I did have an idea because my sister was senior class president.
Yes, she was.
Her at her school.
Yeah,
so,
and I think that was a big duty that they have.
And maybe I did know that. Anyway, and he put a lot of effort into it, and he had a lot of great ideas, and of course, he's my friend, so of course, like, I'm biased because he was my friend. But then a jock decided to run for president as well, and I mean, he's such a nice guy. And I know why he won. It was because everyone also likes him, and he just, you know, he was just a really likable person. But you know, he's not gonna be doing any of the. We kind of knew. I mean, like, I didn't vote for him. Sorry. I didn't vote for him. I voted for my friend. But, like, yeah, I'm not going to say he was a bad class president because, like, I don't remember. We have so many – I went to such a big high school that there were so many, like, committees and clubs that, like, prom was, like, its own thing.
Entity.
Like, yeah, I don't even know what the student council actually did at my high school because,
well, that's what I was wondering.
Because there was like 400 kids in my graduating class.
Because like at Sarah's school, I could definitely
there was like 80, 90 people
in
her
right,
class.
And that's where I think you might have the idea that was the person in charge of future reunions. Where at a school like Woodlawn, I mean, I don't know.
There have been attempts, but like it's just
never happened.
It just can't. There's just too many. There's too many people to contact, and there's just too many like. You know, what if half the people don't RSVP, but they show up? You know, how big of a venue do you get? That's huge. Like, you know, that's if you're gonna count everyone that we went to school with that would show up, let's just say 300 people. You gotta
and bring a date.
And I was also thinking about like 500 to 600 people actually. Like, how do you fit that? So like, I get why we haven't had a reunion. But yeah, it was just, it's one of those things where it's like, he kind of won because he was popular. It wasn't so much that he had ideas and that he wanted to be that he had all these ideas to be president. He just wanted to run because he could. And I think that's what a lot of kids do. I think that's what a lot of kids do, just to kind of be like, I think there's, like you said, competition breeds excellence, and it's just kind of like this need to compete, you know, like I think it's more about that a lot of the times. And
I don't know what his plans were or what he did post high school, but I mean, so many people do it to build your high school resume.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I went to a very college prep, and that's probably actually why I decided to run my freshman year was because, I mean, I certainly didn't ever think I was going to be at the top of my high school class,
right.
You know, but I was like trying to build and have stuff to put on college applications. I mean, that was in my mind as a freshman. So you never know.
Never know. So yeah, I think that's all of my experiences with campaigns. I don't remember having elections when I was like a freshman, sophomore, junior. Like, I don't remember that happening. I remember us voting for like Sweetheart Court and like Prom Court. I remember us voting for stuff like that, class favorites, stuff like that. But I don't ever remember until my senior year. So maybe it just didn't exist.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just your senior year. It's like of the whole school. But yeah.
Oh, we had it every year.
It wasn't that big of a deal. I remember at my middle school, it was a big deal. And I remember having to sit in the chapel and listen to everyone's speeches that their parents, either they wrote like right before they went on stage or like their parents wrote for them. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
So if you were running for any type of office, who would you want to be your campaign manager?
Gosh, I've really been thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's like, you think you want someone who's very organized, methodical, who will stand up for you. I think I would actually say in this case, like my sister.
Yeah.
She is very organized. She's good on the phone. She's good at telling people stuff to do. She might drive me a bit insane, would be my only thing. Love you, Becca, but you do drive me nuts sometimes, but I know I drive you nuts. But you're really good at being organized, and she's very good at computer work. Planning, scheduling things, keeping appointments, moving me around. You know, like I kind of think of what a campaign manager has to do, working with all of the entities, like with the budget, with the marketing, with the television appointments, with the speeches, with the groups that you're meeting. I imagine there's a lot of organization, and I think
there's so many moving parts.
Yeah, I think my sister would be really good at doing that. I keep trying to think of someone else.
I keep thinking of you. I mean, like, I know we were always like, let's not say each other for our answers, but like,
yeah, I think because I'm very much like my sister in that way. I mean, I think we're both pretty organized.
Yeah.
We're both nutty, but
I just wouldn't. I think it also has a lot to do with trust, and and I mean, like, if I'm not gonna say you, then I'm gonna say my sister, because I mean, I don't know if she'd want to be my campaign manager, but yeah, I mean, like, she's the same. I mean, she's very organized, and she isn't afraid to, she's not going to mind bossing me around and telling me where I need to go and what I need to do.
Oh, I think she would enjoy that.
And I would need that. But if I could have that, I'd rather just you do it.
Yeah, I think I would be a good...
If I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'd be a good campaign manager for you. Because I do think... And I think it does require a big load of trust.
Oh, yeah.
Because, this person is leading you and organizing everything for you, and you're putting a lot of trust in a lot of stuff that you don't see. So I feel like it has to be someone who without a doubt would have your back.
Yeah.
So are you mad that I didn't say you?
No.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, don't be mad.
No, I'm not mad. I mean, like, I know we always say, like, let's not say each other. I know that's always kind of like our default thing that we do, but
yeah,
I just couldn't think of anyone else. I just can't think of anyone else.
I know that's a hard one, because I feel like there are multiple levels of a campaign. So maybe Rebecca would be like the campaign manager, and then I would have someone who would help with like my scheduling, helping with my styling or my speech writing. Obviously, you have lots of people that are part of your campaign, but overall, I think for me, it would be my sister, and I would be happy to be your campaign manager, because I love scheduling and doing all those kind of things and planning.
I would love that.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get into this plot summary?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I feel it necessary to say there is, I will, sometimes I don't think about doing this, but for this episode, I will say there is a trigger warning of, there's There is a scene where someone takes their own life in front of someone else. It's not, the act of it isn't shown. It's done off camera.
Yeah.
But you can hear the gunshot. And just want to let you know that that's what happens at some point in the episode. And then after the episode, I'm gonna share a story of my own. And so we're gonna get through this.
Yeah. So
all right. So the politician pilot summary. The episode begins with Peyton speaking to an admissions officer at Harvard. He explains that he has one goal in life: to become president. Every single thing that he does in order to achieve that dream, which he believes is destined to accomplish. But before he can lead the U.S., he will start by being student body president at his Santa Barbara high school. The problem? Standing in his way is River Barkley, whose girlfriend, Astrid Sloan, has convinced him to run against Peyton. When Peyton learns that River is running, he confronts him and shows that there is some kind of history between them. Yeah, I caught that immediately.
Yeah.
River goes on to give an incredibly moving speech at their first debate that earns him a leg up in the race. He also brings in a running mate, Sky Layton, who represents the seemingly very small, diverse population of the school. Once again, Peyton goes to talk to River. He doesn't know why someone who seemingly cares about him would do this. River apologizes, tells Peyton that he loves him, and then shoots and kills himself with the gun we saw him retrieve earlier. Peyton is in shock and goes home to wash away the blood. In a flashback, we learn that Peyton is the adopted son of the wealthy Hobart family and the apple of his mother, Georgina's eye, played by Gwyneth Paltrow. His older brothers, Luther and Martin, are bros who use their money to get women. Peyton, meanwhile, is singularly focused on his goal, so Georgina gets him a Mandarin tutor to help him out at school. This is when River comes into the picture.
Yes.
In a scene from 18 months before the election, still the flashback, River has a gentleness about him and encourages the always kind of uptight Peyton to open up a bit. Then the two share a kiss. Not long after, Astrid confronts Peyton in the library, saying that she knows what happened between them and suggests a threesome.
Yeah, very weird.
Back in the present, Peyton performs a beautiful rendition of the song River at the school memorial for River. I mean, it's Ben Platt. He has a beautiful voice.
I saw him in Book of Mormon.
You did?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song. Then Astrid announces that she will be taking over the campaign and running in River's place. Peyton is furious. He has a lavish dinner with his own girlfriend, Alice Charles. She proposes, they break up, earning him sympathy from the public, and he agrees to the plan. However, he fails to follow the guidelines she put into place to assure her that the breakup isn't real, which I didn't like that scene. That was mean.
I know.
Throughout all of this, Peyton's advisors, McAfee and James, have been helping him. They advise that he picks a running mate who is part of a disenfranchised community, such as someone with a disability. They find the perfect candidate in Infinity Jackson, a cancer-ridden yet cheerfully optimistic student. If Peyton takes some win, it takes Peyton some time to win Infinity over, but with the help of her opportunistic grandmother, played by Jessica Lange, Dusty Jackson.
Oh my God, it was great.
So funny. She decides to enter. However, as soon as she takes the stage to announce her candidacy, Peyton learns that she's not who she says she is, and Infinity might be faking her illness.
I know, it was so bad.
I was immediately getting the Act vibe from that,
Me too.
Right out of the gate. I mean, the Gypsy had a really high-pitched voice, and Zoe gave her a lisp to sound childish, like Gypsy did. All right, so the episode's an hour long. But a lot happened, so I really just wanted to give the bullet points for the episode. I do think it's a great show. It was funny. There was a lot of dark humor to it. So the thing I want to talk about, and this is something that I've really struggled whether or not I was going to talk about this. It's probably the most personal thing in my life. I mean, honestly, I think it's probably the most personal thing that I do not particularly share with people a lot, but I feel compelled to talk about it because I've kind of referenced it a few times on the podcast. I often speak of an era of my life that was a really dark period of my life in the early 2000s. Starting in 2013 until about 2016, 2017 was when I started to be better and heal and feel better about myself. But yeah, so I was in a relationship with someone. We were together for a little over a year. We were together from 2012, 2013. She was someone that really struggled with her mental health and had a lot of things happen in her life, and she had a lot of problems. And so we'd been together for a little over a year, and she took her own life. And I was the one who found her. She used a gun. I'm not gonna go into much detail, but I'm the one that found her, and it was something that stuck with me for a very long time. It's still something that sticks with me. It's something that has never left my brain and will never leave my brain. It's taken a lot for me to just, I mean, it's actually bizarre saying it out loud right now, because I feel like I haven't said this in such a long time. It feels, once again, this podcast has been very cathartic and very therapeutic, and just kind of just saying it out loud now. I know, just saying it out loud now just feels good to say out loud. It is something that I live with every day, and watching this episode, it really brought back memories of that time in my life. And it really, the real reason why I want to share this story, and the real reason why I'm saying this, is I just anyone who's listening, like, no matter how bad you think it's going to be or how bad it is, it's going to get better, and don't give up on yourself. I'm trying to keep it together right now. So I just want to share that and just let everyone know that, this episode, while it is very funny and has a wonderful cast, there is a lot of it covers a lot of dark subjects, and something that triggered me, and it was something that triggered me and brought back memories from my life. And it feels good to talk about it. So just talk to someone. It doesn't have to be someone I mean, you call a hotline. Just
send us a DM.
I was about to say, you could send us a DM. Like, just don't give up on yourself, and just talk to someone, and someone will listen. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I've really, this has been the thing. I'm not dreading it, but like, I have just been mentally preparing for it. It is something that is very difficult for me to talk about, and it's something that you don't really hear me say a lot, which is why I feel like you're having the reaction that you're having right now, and I'm really sorry.
No, I mean, I just, I get emotional, so you can hear that I'm upset, and I'm upset because you're upset, and I always hate thinking about you being sad.
Yeah.
And I've told you that. I hate thinking about times you've struggled, and it's just because I love you so much.
Boo.
So, I mean, it's, I think about that time for you and any other, family member who has gone through that. Like, so many questions that you might have, and you'll never get the answer to. And, so I'm glad you're talking about it, because we've talked about it, and but you have not very openly talked to, like, even the friend group or a lot of people about it, and it's hard because what do you say about it sometimes? Right. So,
and I mean, it felt at first it felt weird telling about it, because I didn't want it to come across as using something, I don't know, like using something for attention, like using something to, I don't know, like it's a very bizarre thing to have to talk about. And it is something that, once again, I feel like I have not talked about what happened in a very long time. I know I've talked to you about it. I've talked about different experiences to you, but it's really been only to you. I mean, like, if I'm being completely honest, like, I haven't really, other than like the therapy that I went to, outside of that, like.
And then even then, I think that was hard, because I remember you telling me that you felt like the other people in the group were just trying to one up each other.
Yeah.
You know, like that wasn't even very helpful.
Yeah,
So
I tried to do group therapy once. It wasn't for me. It works for a lot of people, and maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset to go at the time.
Right group.
Or the right group. You never know. I don't want to discourage anyone from getting help and finding people that understand, you know, what you're going through. But yeah, like it just, there are certain things that didn't work for me, but I think the main thing that I just did, that I just had to do, was I just had to continue living. And there were times where it wasn't easy, and there were times where, you know, certain images would just replay in my head over and over again. I wasn't, you know, there were times where I wouldn't sleep for a few days. I mean, like, there were, you know, it was a really rough time in my life, and it's just something that I can look back on now, and, you know, I'm not going to say like it helped me become the person I am today, but it is something that defined who I became. And I really feel like that experience brought out a softer side of me, and brought out a side of me that I was more willing to not waste time being afraid of things, and just kind of, if I meet someone and I want to be with them, then I should just be with them. And that's, you know, one day we will really delve into the beginning of our relationship and all of the stuff that happened, because you met me at the tail end of all of this, when I was kind of like, I was getting better, but I was having my days where I was really not okay. And when we first met, and we'll talk about that one day. We'll find a reason to talk about it. But it ends sweet, so we ended up together.
Yes.
So now I'm going to sound like I have a cold
I
for
know,
the rest of the episode.
We both have the sniffles. So.
Yeah, so I hate to end it on a note like this, but, you know, sometimes it's just the way life is, I suppose. I'm glad that I talked about it. I'm glad that you're sitting in front of me, and I can't imagine having this conversation with anyone else, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you talked about it, babe.
Yeah,
I mean,
I am too.
I've told you a lot. Like, I dislike the phrase that whatever happened to me doesn't define me. When people say those things. And again, I know the point of that phrase, but everything that happens to us defines us.
100%.
It's our choice of how we let it define us.
Right.
It can be traumatic, and, you know, you can go through several years of sadness and whatnot, but then at the end of that time, you can choose to decide to live life, like you said. Like, you can't just be sad all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I met you at that time, because I think if I had met you earlier, you know, I don't know what would have happened, but I think it is important to talk about, and I think it changed you. It changed you for the better. You're my little boo, and
I am.
You're my sweetheart. We're both tenderonis.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I love you, boo.
I love you, boo. Yeah, so this episode ended up not being I'm glad it ended up not being as long as I thought it could have possibly been. I was like, if we're doing this for an hour and 15, people are going to get really upset with us.
So don't leave us. We wanted to talk about it, and it's, you know, it's because it was part of this show, and this podcast is things that we parallel to the shows, and this was something that happened to you, and you felt that it was important to talk about. And that's something that we've talked about, that people don't talk about these things, and that's, to me, what a podcast is for.
I cannot agree with you more. I'm glad that I talked about it. It feels, like I said, what I've said to many people, this is free therapy.
Yes.
It's just, you know, saying the things that you don't normally say, and just kind of releasing it into the netherworld, into the multiverse. And hopefully someone out there, if things are getting bad, if things seem like they're the worst, just talk to someone. Send us a DM. We'll talk to you. I'll say something.
Yeah.
So just hang in there. Don't give up on yourself.
Yep.
I think that's all I can really say.
All right.
So, sorry, I swear the next episode we'll have fun.
Yes, we're going to try to liven things up. This month has been a little heavy, but
I mean,
military, politics, government.
I knew it was going to be. Things. We've been keeping it light and having fun, and now we get to show people that we are serious and we are, furthermore, very opinionated people. And yes. I think that's something that we don't necessarily show all the time. All right. Sorry, it feels weird saying the outro now, but I'll do it. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at We Judge Pilot Pod. We're also on Facebook. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. You got some?
I have just a few for this one, not too many. The ballot box, the twins for the bros, Luther and Martin, the school emoji or any of the school supply emojis just to represent the school, the infinity symbol for infinity.
Let's go on.
The dinner plate for their dinner where they decide to break up, to fake break up. The heart that is heartbroken because because they break up. And then just any of the hearts to represent love because, we love love and we love and thank you and appreciate y'all for listening.
Oh, yeah. So next episode, before we sign out, our next episode, we will be talking about what's to come in December. And we're both really excited because you came up, I think we said this earlier in the episode, you came up with this theme very last minute, and I was just like, what a great idea. We'll get to it. You'll find out on Friday, but just wanted to let y'all know that we got a lot of fun stuff headed your way.
All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening.